Hi, welcome to Code.io. In this episode, we'll be solving a question called reverse words in a string. So, it's quite obvious the question. We are given a string, input string, and it has dots in between it. So, what does this dot represent? This dot represents separation of words. So, instead of spaces, they have used dots to represent the separation. Okay, fine. So, we are supposed to take this input, that is pqr.mno. So it actually means those are two words separated by a dot, and you are supposed to reverse these words. So reverse in the sense you are not going to reverse the letters in the words, but you are going to rearrange the words. So like let us say we can consider the statement how are you. You are supposed to reverse the words in this statement. So the output should be you are how. Okay, so I hope you understood this question. Now there are a couple of ways that you can approach these questions. So let me first tell you one way, but you're not going to use that. But if you might like, or if you are in a situation where you are supposed to use that, you can use that. So like I'll tell what that way is. So there are methods that you can use to split a string based on some separator. Okay, so you have a split method in Java. You can use that to split a string into a string array using one particular separator, or any separator for that matter. But if you are going to write a program that is not going to use that split, that is the case I'm going to discuss now. But for implementation, we'll just use the split. It is quite simpler. So what exactly can we do is, you can have a string. You're going to create a new string called accumulator. Okay, so what this string is going to do is, it is going to like, what does accumulator do? It accumulates something and you can clear the buffer, right? So you are going to traverse through the given string. So you are going to traverse through the string and you are going to append it into the accumulator. So initially the accumulator will be empty. Once you cross the first character of the string, it will be P. Once you cross the second character, it will be Q. Once you cross the third character, it will be R. And the next character is dot, right? So whenever you encounter a dot, what you can do is, you can get this string in the accumulator and push it into a stack. Okay, so let us say this is a stack. So in the current iteration, we have encountered the dot, right? So if you encounter a dot, it means that you have come past a word. So what you are going to do is, you are going to get the word or the string that is present in the accumulator and push it inside the stack. Now the stack has one string. So this stack is capable of storing strings, right? So at the bottom of the stack we have PQR, and you are going to clear the accumulator. So the accumulator is null now, or it is empty. So you can move on with the next iteration. So it starts with M, right? So the accumulator will be going like M, and for the next iteration it will append N, and for the next iteration it will be appending O. And by this time we have reached the end of the string, which also means that one particular word has ended. So we have come across one word. Now we are going to just do the same process again. We are going to take this particular word present in the accumulator and push it inside the stack. Now M, N, O. So that is it. So now you have a stack that has two words, and the original string also has two words, right? Now you are supposed to print this in reverse, and you might know that a stack always prints thing in reverse, or a stack always gives the input in reverse as output, right? Because last in first out, the element that goes at last will come out first. By the way, if you don't know what a stack is, you can see our video on a stack. It is quite explanatory. It has everything you need to know about stack to get started or do anything for that matter. So that is that. You can go check that video out. So now we have this stack, and it has two elements, that is the words that are in the input, and now we are supposed to print it in reverse, right? So when you try to pop elements out of the stack, what will you get? You'll first get M and O, right? Because that is the element that went in at last. Now you get this M and O and store it in a string. Let us say it is called answer string, okay, str answer, and you are going to store this M and O in it, okay, and you are going to append it with a dot, because here dot is the character that we are using to separate, right, instead of spaces. And again you are going to pop the next element from the stack, which is PQR, right? So we are going to do this process again and again until the stack is empty. Since this particular stack has only two words, now the stack has become empty, and this is your answer, and you can return this string as output. Okay, fine. This is one method that you can use to solve this question. So if they have mentioned it specifically to use a stack to solve this question, you can use this, right? But if it is not specifically mentioned, there is a very simple way you can solve this question, and that is what you are going to use to solve this question. Okay, so I'm just erasing everything. Just a minute. Yeah, so if they have not mentioned, or if they don't want to use a stack, in that case there is a very simple way, like it is a built-in function that you can use, and the name of the function is called split, split. I am discussing in the case of Java, but every other language like C++ or Python will have their own methods, so you can just refer it and do the same process, right? So what you are going to do is you are going to create a string array, let that be ARR, and what you are going to do is you are going to split this string s dot split of, and the argument that you are going to pass is double backslash dot. So maybe I shouldn't have gone to the detail, because we probably will code this, but anyways, yeah. So what we are doing is we are taking the string, right? We are taking the input string, and we are calling the split function or the split method that is part of the string, and we are passing the argument double backslash dot. So the dot character cannot be passed straight away, so that is why we are using double backslash. Don't worry too much about it. So when you pass this, the split method, it takes the input string, it separates the input string using the separator that you have just mentioned, which is dot, right? Using that separator, it splits the string into string array, and that array is being stored here. I hope you understood this. So the output would be, let me just draw a simple array here. So the output would be PQR and MNO. So this will be the output. It took in the string, right? PQR.MNO, it took in that string, and it is spitting out this output, where you are getting an array which is a string array, means every element in that array is a string. So the first string has PQR, the second one has MNO, right? Fine. So now we are supposed to get the answer out of this. How exactly do we do that? Now we want this in reverse, right? So what you can do is, instead of traversing from first element to the last element, you can start to traverse from last to first in this order, right? So when you do that, this is an array, so you can find the length of it quite easily by using array.length, and after finding that, you can just traverse from last element to the first element and append it to the answer string. So we have an answer string, and while traversing from last to first, we are going to append these elements to it, and for every element we are also going to append a dot, because that is the separator that we use. And we do this until we reach the first element of the array, and the output that we get from that, or the string that has been stored in answer, is the answer that we require, and you can just go ahead and return it. So I hope you understood this logic. This is quite simple. You are just using the split function to split the array into split the string into string array, and you are traversing that array from last to first because we need things in reverse, and you are just appending dot in between so that it is the separator and it is the right output format that we require. Okay, now we'll try to code this. You will understand this a little better. So now this question is available in Geeks for Geeks practice, and that is where we have it here, and I'll provide the link in the description below. You can check it out there. So we are supposed to complete this reverse words method, and a string s is given as input. So we'll be following the split method that we just discussed, right? It is quite easy when compared to the other one, but yeah, if you are supposed to do that, just go ahead and do that. It's quite easy. And if you didn't know what a stack is, go check it out as well. So fine, the first step is splitting the string into string array, right? So I'm just going to declare a string array called ARR, and I'm going to split the input string, and the separator that we are going to use is dot, right? You cannot just straight away give a dot. It will not work that way. So you are supposed to give 2 backslashes in order for it to work. So yeah, in this line it splits the string into a string array. Okay, so the other thing that we are going to do is we are going to declare another string called answer and initialize it to nothing, right? Yeah, so we'll now just traverse the string array that we just created in reverse order, right? And we'll append these strings into the answer string that we just created, and we'll return it. Yeah, simple, right? First, we'll find the size of the string array that we just created. So how we do that? ARR.length. So this array has this property called length. So with that, we are getting the size of it. And since we are supposed to include a dot at the start of every word but the first word, it doesn't have a dot at the beginning of it, but every other word has a dot at the beginning, right? So I'm just going to append the first word without any iterative statements. So I'm just going to do it manually. So answer plus equals ARR of size minus 1. So why am I using size minus 1? Because zero based indexing, right? Last element will be at size minus 1. Since we need things in reverse, we are moving from the last one, right? So now the rest of the things can be done using an iterative statement, and the iterator should start from size minus 2, because size minus 1 we have already done it, and it should go all the way up to 0 because that is the first element, and I minus minus because it is going in reverse, right? So now we are just going to append these words into the answer string, but before that you are also supposed to append the dot character, okay, and ARR of I. So the first word has been appended to answer even before the start of the iterative statement, and inside the iterative statement you are just appending dot and a word, because every word other than the first word has a dot at the beginning of it. So we are just doing this. Now at the end of the iteration you can just return the answer string, and that will be it. Now we'll try and run this and see if this works. Yeah, so our code is working perfectly fine and every single test case has been passed. So hope you understood this logic. If you have any questions, put them in the comments and I'll get back to you. And if you like the video, please like the video, and if you haven't subscribed to Code.io, consider subscribing to Code.io. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.